Hello there everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/entitled people, where people are, as you may have guessed, very entitled. If you enjoyed today's stories, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hit that notification bell. Now without further ado, let's get started, shall we? You can't make signs big enough or simple enough for some people. Many years ago, I worked as a public health RN in a rural health department. Every year, we ordered a set amount of flu shots for country's residents. When we ran out, we were done for the season. We never ordered more. Some years we ran out, and other years we didn't. One of the years we ran out, I created 3 signs that said in bold red uppercase letters, "No more flu shots," on white 8.5 inches by 11 inches paper. We put one right by the handle of the main entrance door, so as to be clearly seen. The other 2 were our 2 front desks, and one was for the WIC program, and the other was for everything else. Anyways, a gal came up to the main door and carefully read the simple forward sign. She then comes into the lobby and carefully reads the copy of the same sign on the main desk. When asked how she could be helped, she asked for, of course, "Are you going to get any more flu shots?" She was politely told no, and the sign she'd read carefully twice was referenced. She then proceeded to ask, "Yeah, could you make that sign any bigger?" And the receptionist tartly and perfectly replied, "Apparently not." All these years later, I still laugh and shake my head. To me, no more flu shots doesn't imply you're not going to get any more. Just that you're out for an indeterminate amount of time. I also don't see the entitlement in this story, if I'm being honest. My mother laughed at me for being upset and then tried to deny it when I confronted her about it. I, 18 male, went down to the kitchen to tell my parents about an idea that I had, and when I told them that neither of them were even happy about it or agreed the fact that it was a good idea, I was sitting on the couch visibly annoyed, and my dad told me to cheer up, and my mother said, "He's just upset that we weren't enthusiastic enough about his idea," in a really patronizing tone. I wasn't reacting to anything she was saying, I was just kind of blankly staring at something. And my dad was talking to me, but I wasn't making eye contact. I looked over to my mother, and she mocked my facial expression and the way I was staring. At this point, she had already dismissed what I came down to tell them about originally, laughed at me for being annoyed about it, and then mocked me. After my dad left the room, she came over to me and started asking me what was wrong, as if she hadn't just made fun of me for 15 minutes. I was kind of scared to tell her, but eventually I said something along the lines of, "I don't like it when you laugh at me." I don't know what she was expecting, but she straight up denied it. She said, "I promise I wasn't laughing at you." She also said that my sister had told her the same thing. As in, my mother had laughed at something she said as well. I don't know how she doesn't realize that if both me and my sister are criticizing her for the same thing, then she is doing something wrong. She just kept saying stuff like, "I wasn't laughing. I was just smiling to try and cheer you up." As if sitting there laughing at me is going to make me feel any better. Here's a list of all the excuses she made. "I'm human too. I'm trying my best. Everyone gets upset sometimes. It's hard for me as well to have to look after everyone in the house. I'm only trying to make you feel better." She didn't even bother apologizing either. You know, you could just very easily have gone out and bought your chest of drawers without making a big deal out of it. But first, you have to clean your room to put it in there. Mother asked when she's moving in with me and my partner in this rich country. This conversation popped up at the wake of my grandmother's funeral. She was holding her plate of food and sat down next to my aunt and me on a couch. Very smug looking and kept smirking at people as if she's any better than them. Turned out she had it in her head somehow that she'd be moving to another country with me and my partner and our kids because Grandma had passed away, so she'd have no responsibility like that, and she's retired. So she'd gone around telling people how she'd be living in a ravishing, retired lifestyle in a rich Scandinavian country for free without having to raise a damn finger. She asked me loudly, "So when does my flight leave?" I asked her what the heck she means by that, and she said loudly so everyone could hear, "You know, I'll fly back to your husband's country so I can live luxuriously like you promised me." I promised her fuck all, then we're never going to talk to her again after I flew back. So me being me and my incapability to sugarcoat anything, I blatantly told her that it had never happened because I'm not stupid enough to bring her dangerous ass around my children. The face crack of the century, let me tell you. My aunt and the rest of the room cackled. She then thought she heard it wrong, so she repeated herself again. "You're not moving in with me, and you can erase that idea from your brain because you're a dangerous, lazy, greedy person, and I am not about to introduce that type of energy to my children." She then threw tantrums, yelling and shouting about how she's entitled to move in with me and be taken care of by the family. I argued back that unless she'd be willing to find a place to stay over there herself, find a job, learn a new language, and actually work again, then she would not survive because I have kids to take care of, and I'm not about to be taking my energy and time off them to cater to her lazy butt. She then went silent on me and refused to talk for the rest of the evening. Well, that's fine by me. Fine by everyone else as well. They just had a good time giggling at how delusional she was. Edit. I did not expect this to blow up. The reason this took place at the most inappropriate time was because I was leaving pretty much the day after. I wasn't staying with her. Hell no. So she had to talk to me right there and then. Was I already angry at her when she did it? Absolutely. The woman's mother had just died. My grandmother had died. And she chose to speak happily, mind you, about how she's moving and leaving all of it behind, once and for all, so she can live luxuriously. Yeah, she likes buying brand name stuff, by mooching off of people. No thank you. I cannot abide by it. Why is she dangerous? That woman would choose money over any family at any time if it means she'd be able to live a certain lifestyle. Then she would choose money over protecting her family. I am not bringing her near my kids. At my mother's funeral, I had 3 people I had never met in my entire life come up to me and tell me that I now have to take care of my father. My father lives 2 hours away. Back then he was in his 60s and still working, and I also was working full time. And yes, in the beginning he had assumed I'll pop by every second weekend to make his laundry and clean the house. He found that, quote-unquote, reasonable. I came by exactly 2 weekends, not weekends. Englishing is hard. My cooking was abysmal and I didn't clean anything. I just came for company and showed him how to use the washing machine. He fortunately gave up after my godmother yelled at him and he hired a cleaner. When 2 braggarts tried to stiff me with the restaurant bill. A year after I had moved to London, I'm on a mission at a bank in Paris. As it is my birthday, I organized an evening at a restaurant with some friends that I had not seen in a while. Unfortunately, some of my colleagues overhear and decide to invite themselves. One of my childhood friend's guests is a doctor, surgeon in facial reconstruction, working for insert doctor's name here. He's 5 years older than me, but dated his sister for a while before she died from an overdose. I was good to her, tried to make her quit, so he always had a soft spot for me ever since. The traders bragged about how much money they're making. They asked him how much money he earned. He told them, which is pittance. Obviously, they laugh at him, which, when it is time to pay, they try to stiff me with their bill, which was about way above my pay grade. Doctor intervened, and they discreetly pay before things turn nasty. The following day at work, the braggart jerks asked me if I felt bad for letting poor Gilliman pay. I say no because Gilliman is rich. His family is like the 5th richest family in France. He just does not give a shit about money. He lives alone in a 200-meter hotel, particularly on top of one of the biggest avenues in Paris. He does not need the pay from MSF. In fact, he donates it back to MSF. Suddenly, they keep asking when our great pal Gilliman is coming because they have a great investment vehicle for him and his family. At lunchtime, Gilliman comes to pick me up so we can have lunch, just the 2 of us. I don't have a French phone number and mobile phone are banned on the trading floor, so the receptionist used the squawk box to announce Mr. Gilliman, insert name here, for me at reception. He has a very particular, easily noticeable family name, and the boss of the braggarts hear the name and immediately recognize it. The guy jumps in and tries to introduce himself. Gilliman says that after 2 of his employees have tried to stiff one of his best friends for a restaurant meal, he will definitely not be using them for his trust fund, and that in fact he will recommend to his father that he goes to a more ethical bank. As we left, we could hear the boss reading the riot act to the 2 bozos. This is so well done. Thank you for putting them in their place and making it obvious that the huge business the company could have gotten into is gone because of these assholes. What do you mean you can't break down a 50-euro note? I used to work at an arcade when I was a dumb 18-year-old. God, that's 30 years back. Covering the change booth while cashier has lunch, and some well-dressed guy brings me a 50-euro note, asks for 50-pound coins and change. I told him I can't do that. I had enough in my change bank, but company policy was to call management. I apologize and say I'll have to call my boss for permission. The boss turns up, checks the note, and it's genuine. Asks him to wait there. Comes back from the safe with the guy's change. The customer's like, "What good did this arsehole do it?" The boss says he's not allowed to, as employees are liable if they take forgeries. The boss then deals with this Burke yelling about how it wasn't fake, so I could have done it. The boss leaned over and said I did the right thing, but screw that customer who didn't spend anything. He just wanted a ton of change. He left after his rant ended. Our summer car parking charges are like €1 per hour, but even so. Bosses should say to cashiers, "You did the right thing, don't worry," in front of these types of customers. Deflate their self-important, entitled balloon. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and maybe check out my Entitled People story playlist. I got plenty of those on there. Now I will see you all next time. Hasta la pasta.